Spartan. The Spartan freaking trifecta. Spartan. Welcome back to the Boys Only podcast. I'm your host, Lorenzo Vasquez. Today is episode 25, I believe. I could be wrong. But today we have on to me a leader, mentor, great role model in the field that I do, and great role model to my brothers who are also in the field with me. We have on Mike Sutton.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Just glad to be here today. First, let's give honors to the man upstairs, just letting us be here today to explicit these things, give an opportunity to just let the world hear how we come about of advancing to a good career. And basically had the privilege to come over here with these young men that I had a chance to just have up under my administration at one point in time through my career, through the travels that I've been through, and just say excited. So just sit back and enjoy yourself. Hope that you can get something out of this and enjoy what you hear.
Yeah. Today, I'm very excited. Today's going to be more of a leadership, getting through stuff in your life that has gone, because Mike's got a great story. And it was really hard because I've known Mike for a while now. I have conversations with Mike on the daily. And on Friday, we're sitting there and he's telling me, and I was like, Mike, I hate doing this, but you got to stop. You got to stop talking because I want to, I've heard a lot of these stories, but these other stories that he's telling me, because man, he's got a book of them. I'm like, I want to hear these for the first time on the camera. I want to have an organic reaction to them. So Mike, you are a born and raised man out of St. Louis, Missouri, correct?
Correct. Basically, I will be 55 in August. I've been in this industry since 1991. Came out of high school in '88 in U City. Like I said, born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, in the county, University City, very nice place. My parents has passed away, but they have put things instilled in me, my brother, and my sister that are still here and living with us. How to be leaders, how to keep pushing forward, never giving up. My mom was a nurse. My dad was an administrator for the St. Louis County and MSD. So, he had the office type of construction behind his belt. And basically, I just felt like, hey, when I came out of high school, I always loved construction. I mean, I would, as a kid, anytime I heard equipment going on, something going on around by my neighborhood, I would get out and just go sit in the grass and watch these guys. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at first I had a toss up. I wanted to be a firefighter or I wanted to be a construction worker. And I just like big things, big trucks, and I like the noise. But construction, for some reason, my grandfather always told me, take a trade that will help you advance no matter what happens in life. If school doesn't work out, you always had a trade with your hands. So yeah. I was, when I came out of high school, before I got into the construction part of a road building, I was a home builder. I was a journeyman carpenter for 3 years, started my own business. Still, business is licensed in St. Louis. I did a lot of remodeling in kitchens and baths and building homes. I had a contractor take me in when I didn't know anything and took me up under his belt and just showed me everything of home building from the ground up, from the foundation to grading it, to digging the footings, all the way up to the rooftop. Wow. So that amazed me. And, I thought that at back then, before I even seen what equipment could do, put my eyes around it, even sit down in the seat of it, he taught me how to be a good carpenter. So after that, they had a lot of buildings, and their point was they were remodeling in Kirkwood. That was the biggest town in Kirkwood. That's where you got the $1 million homes. Mm. And he showed me how to come up, do things. Well, it got to the point I worked for him for about 2 years. And basically, I was pretty much making the income he was in his business. He was a private owned business owner. And so he come up one day and he said, "Hey man, you have the initiative to do better. You're a young man trying to build a family. You need to go out and get you a career where you can get some insurance and get you some benefits to have a retirement." Didn't know what that meant at that
Yeah.
point in time, but took his lead. And since I had already started experiencing equipment because I was digging the footings, I was grading the parking lot, the driveways, and the landscaping and all those things, I was like, man, do I want to walk on 2x4s at an older age and having to worry about falling, or do I want to do this and get in here and tear up the earth and put it back?
Yeah.
So end up going to joining in '91. I ended up joining Local 513 Operator Engineers as an apprentice operator. Didn't have no clue what it was going to be like. Didn't know what that journey was going to, end up at. But I said, you know what? Hey, let me give it a try because I had already uh, reached the goal of saying that I have a trade up under my hands that no one can take from me unless I break my hands or I
Yeah.
get handicapped. You see what I'm saying? So I said, let me start this journey. So went to Local 513 Apprentice Operating School in St. Louis there. And at back then, at that time, it's different now because back then, as I joined, that's when things were. If you ever hear when they was talking about minorities on construction companies, for women, blacks, different nationalities, and things like that. So it wasn't a lot of minorities out there in the field.
Yeah.
Um, and if you looked at the school, it was not a lot of minorities even going into these type of trades. You see what I'm saying? We didn't know how to get into them, and I had an advantage to get into it, and I took advantage of it and became a journeyman. I would say it took me I think 5 years to become a journeyman. Well, through that journey of apprenticeship to a journeyman, I ended up finding a construction company that had took me in, Pace Construction, that had gave me an opportunity, and didn't know anything about what they did, but I said to myself is, you know what, I'm learning this equipment, I can be valuable, I can be something in life. I love what I'm doing, I love outdoors. Never thought about managing anything, just becoming just a journeyman operator.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Putting something else under my belt. So they took me in when I first got there. I end up going every day. I would drive at least probably about an hour and a half out
Oh
to
wow.
go to work from where I stayed at. Didn't know the company was like the headquarters were like 30 minutes from my house.
Oh.
I thought this hour and a half that the headquarters was out there, and this is what I had to do. I had to prove myself.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I end up learning different type of materials. I worked in the plant first, making materials, how asphalt was made. Back then, we were putting pud mill out on the country roads
Okay.
before they started doing overlays. So that chip and seal and stuff like that, we would make it and then send it out there and watch it being laid. You see, so I took the interest of it. I said, hey, this is an opportunity for me. Didn't worry about how far I had to go. My mom always helped me. She was like, hey, I know you ain't got a car. This was when I was about 20 years old. Didn't
Wow.
have a car, but my dad and them made a way to where he would get her to work and I would take her car to go to work.
Wow.
After probably about, I'd say, 6 months into this, the owner back then of Pace Construction was Mr. Roy Burns. Very nice young man at that time. Very experienced, had a lot of things put together that I didn't understand. But he come up to me one day and he said, "Hey, you want to go out on the roadway and see how this is being laid down?" Yeah, sure. I mean, if this is just the beginning of it, yeah, I like to see how things just keep going and how we make it and how it's getting produced out on the
Yeah.
road. So they end up taking me out on the road out there and introduced me to some good guys that took me under their wing and started showing me all different parts. You see what I'm saying? And back then is with the operator school, you had to generate hours. That's how you advance to the next stage.
Okay.
So it wasn't a performance test like it is now. It's basically you got out there with a contractor, and basically they worked you and you recorded your hours. And every time I went back to school, I was getting more hours because I had a company that took me
I
in
mean, you were working a
and
full time
working.
job.
Right, I
Yeah.
was working full time, didn't have to worry about anything. And so after they seen that, this was my dream, and you know what, I put a lot of initiative into it, and I always kept looking at different avenues when I got out there. You see what I'm saying? Once I graduated from the school through them, I became I started learning different parts of their departments and what they do. And my first job after being out there on the roadway and driving an hour and a half, they came up to me and said, "Hey, you want to work closer to home?" Sure. Where's
Yeah.
that at? Oh, that's right there in the city of St. Louis County. Oh, okay. Where's the headquarters? And so funny about it, I have to laugh about it because when I was a kid and used to walk the railroad tracks, I used to throw rocks at their trucks.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying? I never known that I
yeah.
was going to end up, an employee there. So it was like, well, you know where the Snooks is, and we're right behind. Oh, so okay,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know
Right.
exactly where you're talking about, and had the opportunity to come closer to home. And my first crew that I was on, it was the milling crew.
Oh, wow.
I did milling for them, and I learned how to run a teacup.
So real quick, for people that are watching, milling is basically a big machine that we have. It's a massive grinder inside of it, and you put it down on the existing asphalt, roll the mill that goes through, and it basically kind of the best way to explain it, like vacuums up existing asphalt, takes it off to usually 2 inches at the top, vacuums it out, puts it into a truck, and they send that off to set it up for new paving. Just for
Correct,
anyone that doesn't really know the
correct,
milling and
correct.
stuff.
And so again, is my job was to go around and mill around all the utilities, and that was my
Okay.
job. I would take that teacup, and they would tell me what they want done. I seen, and back then, before these newer machines, most machines were just humongous. I mean, the mill that we had was a rear loader. It was a big working Barber Green type mill
Mm-hmm.
that I was like, wow, man, this guy's driving this big old machine. How he feel
Yeah.
up there? You see what I'm saying? I know he's scared. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because I was just scared.
My first time when I used to work in the shop for ours, Louis, the shop manager, was like, "Hey, I need you to bring the mill over," and I was like, "I don't know how to do that." And he's like, "Well, here, I'm gonna show you." And I hopped on it for the first time, and I was like, "I feel like I'm fucking riding a dragon." These
Right?
are huge, right?
Yeah.
They're bigger than that. I'm on the ones that we have
Oh
now, and I'm
no,
like, "These are
man!
huge, bro!" Like,
Yeah. These are. I'm
yeah,
talking about. These were back then. These big, about almost between 8 to 12 foot.
wow.
You see what I'm saying? And we would go through, and it was a rear loader. It wasn't a front loader.
Oh,
So
whoa,
you driving it
in
forward
front of it.
while the guys were backing up, and you had
Oh,
guys backing up behind it. So
wow.
it just shows you how the construction industry just turns 180 degrees
Yeah.
to make things more efficient around here.
Mm-hmm.
As I traveled through that journey, never had in mind again that I wanted to be some type of boss.
Yeah.
I just thought that I was going to put 30 years in being an operator. Never thought about going to any other company. Never researched any other company. And so through my journey, they came up to me and they offered me some leadership training. I was like, wow, hey, as an apprentice operator, y'all sending me through some type of management class.
Yeah.
Y'all must think y'all must have a future for me. You see what I'm saying? Not really grasping it, just taking to say that, hey, I get some more learning up under my belt for this career.
Yeah.
So I went to supervisor training programs, sat in the room with a bunch of guys who have been there 10, 15 years. I'm a newbie. Don't have no clue what you mean about job costs, things like that.
It's very intimidating. I can
Yes.
agree with you on that.
you,
It's very
you
intimidating.
see what I'm saying? You're sitting
Yeah.
in a room that you don't have no idea, you don't know the terminology, and you wonder, why am I in here? You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? Maybe they made the mistake. Maybe I'm the wrong person, but I'm here. never felt any type of I guess embarrassment of just being around these guys. After a while, after I did it the first year, cool. Didn't really take it seriously. Hey, they sent me, okay, come
That's
back.
cool. Yeah.
And then I started to see that every year it was a repeated thing. Hey,
Mm.
Mike, we want to see you again. It seemed like you grasping it. Well, after that point of graduating from the operator school, I had said to myself, you know what, guys? I don't think I want to be on this equipment all my life. I don't want to beat my body up. I don't want to look old. I don't want to get off of it and can't walk around and enjoy life. I say, you know what? I started looking at superintendents. Hey, what's your job?
Yep.
Paying attention. At then they moved me to a paving crew, and I was a finish roller. They taught me how to run a roller, and this all I could say is, guys, we all fail somewhere. We all make a mistake. We always do something that you might think that might hinder you down the line, or somebody might hold it against you. And like I told people, my first time getting on a breakdown roller, operator was showing me, and these rollers back then, to show you, is these rollers had two seats,
No.
one on each side. The
Yeah.
steering wheel used to tilt. So, you didn't have to switch. You used to have two guys on there, and if he had to run the right side, he'd tilt the steering wheel
Oh
over to
wow.
him
What?
while you sit back. You see what I'm saying? While you sit back and, watch him do what he does.
Yeah.
So he took the steering wheel, showed me, gave me a little look at everything, you see what I'm saying? And I was like, wow, I like this. This is all you got to do, huh? Just roll this asphalt 3 or 4 times, and do this pattern. He was like, well, it's art to this now. You can do more damage than you can do good. I was
Yep.
like, what you mean? Machines laying it down. So all I got to do is make sure I turn my water on and roll it. He was like, oh, okay, well, try it out. So I tried out first time. I did a pattern, oh, I like this, and back then, you had a big steering wheel, so you thought you was driving a big old
Yeah. Yeah.
Cadillac or
Yeah.
something, you see what I'm saying? So I'm up on the roller like this, you see what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, this is cool. Well, not to know, I'm coming up on the paper on my last pass, and the other operator who's experienced is getting nervous because he thinking that I'm not going to cut out, because you had to
Yeah.
cut out right before the paper. He's like, hey, go start turning. I'm telling him, I got this. And I'm doing the pattern, coming up on the paper, and he's like, these guys are nervous because, you knew. So, you got to build trust with them, because you're right behind them, and they're always looking down and forward, not behind them. And I said, okay. So I started easing up, making my turn. And then all of a sudden, I guess that operator thought I wasn't turning. And
Oh.
he grabbed the steering wheel from me. And when he grabbed the steering wheel, I yanked it, and it ended up hitting the back of the paper.
Oh shit.
Bam! I thought my career was
It's
over.
over. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I thought, man, they ain't gonna let me back up here no more. Ain't nobody gonna trust me. The word's gonna get out. I done hit the paver, this
Yep.
and that. I'm in training, and I'm like, oh man, I done just ruined myself. So I got off of it. I was like, you know what? You can have it. You know what? You made me look bad.
You wanted that bad. You
Right.
can have it.
You
I
can
ain't
have
gonna
it.
go
You know
there.
what?
That
I'm
point.
trying to learn, and you didn't want to give me the opportunity. I know what you wanted, but you didn't. You took it from me. But here you go. Well, after that, the owner come up to me and he said, hey, he said, we all make mistakes around here. He said, don't let it get you down. He said, I really think there's something in you that we see that you can be very successful in. And he said, we make mistakes.
Yeah.
Just learn from it. I said, okay. So after I did that, that's when, they sent me back to the milling crew. And I started learning more. I started learning how to run skids. I started learning how to run the big mill, running the backhoe, things like that. So after a while, we kept going, and I started looking and understanding things, and I said there was an opportunity for me to be on a paving crew permanently. I said okay. So after they heard that, I was on the front row and I hit somebody, it was like, we're gonna start you back there in the back, Mike,
Yeah.
where ain't nobody around. Run the finish roller. You ain't got to worry about nothing. The only thing you got to worry about is staying up on the pavement. Now, if you get off on the edge somewhere and get ready to flip this, it's all on you. Ain't nobody else back here with you. So take your time, and it's all I want you to do is take the marks out. Because back then, compaction, the type of mix, it wasn't all these new age mix that we have now
Yeah.
today, that where you have to worry about compaction, segregation, and things like that. You know, the air voids. We didn't get into all that. It was just strictly half-inch mix. Long
What
as
a time to be
all
alive. Goodness
hey,
sakes, what a time to be alive in
hey,
asphalt.
right. You
Goodness
see what I'm
sakes.
saying? That you didn't have all those variables up against you like you are to make money now.
Yeah.
And so I learned it. And every time, what I used to do was, when I didn't have nothing to finish, I would walk up to the front of the paver and just watch. Just sit back and watch guys, watch the paver operator, see what he does. Because back then is the paver was blow knocks. And yes, the paver has a lot of buttons to it.
Yeah.
And so I used to get up there, and the operator used to tell me, because he was one of my operators from the local, and he come up and he said, "Hey," he said, "man, come on up here." He said, "Cause, you know, down the line, I want to retire." And then he said, "The only way I can retire, if I train somebody to
Yeah.
take
You got
my
to take it over.
position, because there's not a lot of people in this field that will want that position, because you have to understand is you're taking in all this asphalt, air that is might be contaminated. We don't know.
Yeah.
You're working around 300 degrees. It's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I'm wondering how these people doing it. You see what I'm saying? And after getting up there a couple times, I was like, this is where I want to be. I want to be in front of the line. I want to be the one who directs everybody and run the locomotive. That's what I called it. It was a train. That's what I kept saying. You know, if the locomotive move, everybody else follows.
Yep.
And I said, that's what I want. I don't want to be way back there. That's
Yep.
boring back there. Ain't nothing for me to do. That's why I kept coming up. Whereas my journey coming up to watching the operator pull intersections, asking the laborers on back of the screed, how you do this, what are you looking at, how do you know how to turn the crank, when to turn the crank, because back then too is automatics wasn't really in play. You had to learn how to do it manually. So you look up 100 yards and you knew where the dips and highs and lows was. You knew how to catch things out there and wing out and do things like that. And so I was like, wow, how did you learn that? And it was like, man, just over years, looking at this.
So I got a question for you, because this is something that obviously now I'm a project manager now. I started in the field, did about 6, 7 months in the dirt crew, and that's kind of when you were transitioning in. But something I learned very fast, and I want to know how much different it was when you were learning, is I got put up on a crew with a younger gentleman closer to my age, and then an older guy, and then the boss. The foreman, he was an older guy, and I was like, man, I really want to know how to do that skid, the track skid. I was like, I
Right,
really want to
right.
know how to do that. And I went to, his name was Brandon at the time. He was, like I said, he's close to my age. I went to Brandon, hey man, what do you how does that work? How do you run this stuff? And he's like, oh, at lunchtime I'll show you. And I was like, cool, dude. Well, he at lunchtime comes, he starts showing me, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, just to let you know, like if you ever get put on a different crew, I don't know if they're gonna let you do this.
Right,
I was like, well, what
right,
do you mean?
right.
And also Hispanic like me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big thing within the construction of Hispanics, is that a lot of these men, they're older men, and they worked hard to get this position. In their head, training others is basically saying, giving them a shot to hire someone younger and
Correct.
take their job.
They took it as a threat.
Yes, exactly.
And
I'm wondering, that was a big thing that I learned about the Hispanic community, because that's very, it still goes today and stuff, from what I hear from friends that are in construction and stuff. Hispanic men, and I understand them. I'm not knocking
Right,
nobody.
right.
I understand why I do, because some of them, we don't hire illegals with a company we work with, but there's people that do, and they're like, well, if you take this from me, I'm gone.
Right.
If someone learns to do this job, my only asset is that I'm good at this, and if I teach you, they'll take it. So
Correct.
for you, I guess a big question is, what ethnicities did you work around? Is it also, like black like you, or the
Well,
Hispanic and mixed, and were they willing to help train you?
I want to say is what you experienced was the same thing I experienced in my time. where people didn't want to train you
Mm-hmm.
because they felt threatened. You see what I'm saying? Even in the union. Just a reference to, to say that, when I used to get up on the equipment, a lot of operators wouldn't even let me sit in the seat.
Wow.
They would tell me, if you get in that seat, we're going to have problems.
Really?
So, some people took it as, well, you know what, I'm going to get off of it and I ain't going to worry about it. But me, I took it as, you know what, the company is paying me. The company sees something in me. It's not about what he see and what he feels. And I used to tell him, hey man, I'm not out here to take your job. I'm just out here to build a career so I can take care of my family that I want to have later down the line. I said, but I tell you what, if you don't want me to sit in the seat to learn it, I'm going to stand behind you. You
Yeah.
can't do anything about me standing behind you. You see what I'm saying? You don't own this equipment or anything. I'll give you all the space you want. But I'm going to stand behind you and see what you're trying to see, what you're doing, what buttons you're hitting. Uh, when you get in situations, what are you doing? And after a while, people start accepting that. I didn't try to get in the seat. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I felt like, hey, my years will come when I will get to seat time. But at least I have an idea
Yeah.
of what the equipment does.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Because then
saying?
if that moment ever does come, it's like, hey, I have an idea. I
Cor-
can do this.
You see what I'm saying? Because what people have to understand is, and what we look at in construction is you will never ever see my vision. You will never ever be able to build what I see. Only thing I can do is explain it to you to the best of knowledge to where you can start building a vision of, at the end of the day, it's all the same common goal.
Yeah.
That's what we are looking for is how we get started, what we go through the midst of it, and in the meat of everything, and when it gets done, it should be the same product as everybody else would do it, no matter how we got there, you know. And so as I took that approach, the doors started opening up more for me. I started learning a lot of equipment, and it was a seasonal job. So in the wintertime, I would go and work for other contractors running other different equipment. I would go and run cranes, run
Yeah.
track
Oh
hose.
wow.
I did underground. I was 70, 80 feet down in the ground, tunneled up under the Missouri River.
Oh
You see what
wow.
I'm saying? Learn how to do those things. So I was getting experience as all the time because pace was seasonal. And as an operator, I go and put myself in the hall. The hall would send me out, go do burnouts at the Ford plant, where in the wintertime they would go and do changeovers, when they start making new cars.
Yeah.
So I would come in and run a deck crane. You see what I'm saying? So I got experience throughout the journey, even though Pace was my primary company that, okay, I work seasonals, I go work for these guys in the wintertime, come back in the spring, Pace calls me back.
Yep.
I was like, cool. After being there for about maybe 5, 6 years, you know, mastering all the equipment that they have,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what, guys, I think I can run one of these crews.
Yeah.
What is it for me to be able to become a superintendent? I was never a foreman. I jumped from being an operator to a superintendent, still carrying my card at that point in time. Um, and opportunity came where I could take over a crew. The superintendent that groomed me, he was retiring. He had his son-in-law in the business, and basically the opportunity started opening up because a lot of these older guys were letting it go,
Yeah.
and they passed it down to me, and that's when all the training I went through for the STP kicked in play. Started, following the steps as being a successful superintendent. I didn't have no problem at it.
Yeah.
I said, this is what I want to do. Throughout the journey, I was doubted a lot of times because people was like, you can't do two things at once. That stuff is too complicated. And I used to sit back and say, okay, you know, didn't worry about it, didn't get upset, didn't turn myself away and say, you know what, I ain't gonna make it. I just said, okay,
Okay. Just figure it
okay.
out.
Hey, the best way to learn is train yourself.
Yeah.
What I find out in asphalt, there's no training. There, even up at the operator school, there's no pavers.
No.
It's all dirt work. It's all vertical work.
Yeah.
So when I went to school, I wasn't learning nothing on paving. I was learning strictly dirt work, sewer work, stuff
Yeah.
like that. You see what I'm saying? And so I said to myself, "Is the only way I'm gonna know this industry is by
Get in there and do
teaching
it.
myself,
Yeah.
finding out what it does, finding the books to read, taking in all the training that the company wants to give me, start talking to people in different companies. You know how you do this, looking at it out there more closely now, and I got good at it. Very successful at it. Had a very successful team that I built, and said to myself is only way the company be good gets better if you just keep rotating and building and seeing the circle revolve 180 degrees, bringing some of these young guys that don't have no clue that back then you used to hire a bunch of farm guys because you know why? They knew how to run equipment. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't a point of experience of blacktop. If you did get raised up on blacktop, it was basically you was taught because your grandpa did it,
Yeah.
then your father did it. You see what I'm saying? You didn't find an asphalt school that really said that you can go and see what asphalt was. It was hereditary that somebody in your family was doing that,
Yeah.
and they was making a good living. You see what I'm saying?
And that's literally the prime example of how us, my father runs. He wasn't in the asphalt, but he ran the trucks and stuff, and he went in trucks, and eventually he got to asphalt, and he started doing that. And growing up, I talk about it a lot. We grew up. My dad never said, you're going to get in the trucking business or the asphalt business. He never
Right.
told us that,
Right.
but we knew it. I think eventually all of us kind of went and did it because it's like, hey, we're in a bind, Dad. I need help, and he's like, I got the company I'm with. They will hire you because you're my son.
Right.
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 We'll help you guys out. And now there's four of us, and at one point, all five of us, including my dad, we're all working there.
Okay.
Right. And now there's still three of us as boys, and my dad. And I'd like to say me and my brothers that are still there, we're all looking at careers in this, right? But it's like my dad did it first.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
it grew as us. He obviously was like, well, let's get into trucking. We're like, I don't really want to drive no big trucks.
Right.
Like, I'm not.
Right. Right.
I ain't about
right.
driving the big trucks and stuff, Dad. But it was like, well, let me get into this dirt,
Right.
And,
Right.
and Mike and I still sit there today. I was going to school for Parks and Recreation because I was like, I want to work at a rec center. I want to do sports. I love this. And as working at Asphalt Specialties and stuff, and working where I'm at, it was like, this is pretty cool, right? And I was doing the dirt, but my whole mindset was like, well, how does this work? How does this? My vision wasn't looking like I want to run the blade. My vision was like, how does the cost work for this? How does a company run? How does this work out? So then, speaking to my mom, she kind of sat me down and she said, "Hey, son, I love you and I know, but you're going for Parks and Recs." And when I found out early at the age of with going to Parks and Recs, is like people get in this job and they sit in these jobs for 50 years. They don't leave.
Right.
Right. It's a very, very aggressive, competitive industry, which sounds funny because it's just, you just work at a rec center.
Correct.
But it's very competitive.
Right.
And my mom said, I think you need to get in construction. So because construction will never stop.
Correct.
There will always be a position in construction,
Correct.
no matter what you do.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I think this is something, you got leadership and management. I think you can do this. So I said, okay, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I made the transition. But the only reason I was like into making the transition is because my dad had his foot in the door ahead of me and stuff. And I was like, well, I want to check this out. And now, that's what we do. And I wouldn't say I have a love for asphalt, but I have a love of, understanding the business.
Correct.
It's very like,
Correct.
I feel like I should ask more questions and dig more on the business side. But I just love sitting there and watching and thinking, like, seeing my bosses and my colleagues, the higher colleagues that run the jobs that they do. And I just sit there and I should ask, but then I'm kind of like, well, I don't want to ask a question, and then I don't want to ask the question to get put into a position where I'm like, whoa, I'm not ready yet. But it's like, but getting into the asphalt, you're right, it's hereditary. Like it really is with our family, and explaining to others, friends. I'm like, hey, I need a job. I can get you one, but it ain't gonna be an easy job. This ain't no, and no bashing to any other scope of work out there that does their stuff. No trades. But I'm like, you got to sit on this asphalt. You got to loot this asphalt. You got to, sit there all day in the sun, and it ain't an easy job.
Correct.
I was like, I did my original because I was sitting in construction, and I was like, this is cool, but like, I don't want to break my back.
Right.
I don't want to break my back here, so I want to get out into the office and do this, and then go out to the job sites I do and stuff. And that, you literally have to be, in a weird way, you have to be bred to do asphalt. because
Yes,
it's a tough trade.
it is.
It is a very
It's
niche trade
It
from what I've
is,
learned of
and
going around.
that's the same thing as because I have three boys of my own, and with my oldest boy, that's the things I was telling him, like, hey man, it takes a tough skin to do this. Do construction, period. Regardless what you do, how you do it, you're out in elements of weather. Because I've worked where I was working running the crane in 2 below 0 weather. You see what I'm saying? Had my gloves on, had to work. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So work don't stop. You
Nope.
see? So regardless, I'm sitting up on top. I got guys down that a lot of work, and that's how I knew that I loved this because it was just put in my heart. And my dad used to say, you're a different breed because we didn't ever think about getting out there doing things physical,
Mhm.
like this. My brother was a CO at the county jail. Became the head chief over there. And my mom and dad, she was at the VA hospital, but they were leaders.
Yeah.
See, I never seen my dad and them up under somebody. They always had administration up under them. And that's what really poked my eyes out. Like, you know what, man, I have that bread of management and leadership to lead by example. And I want my boys to understand. I want you to get out here and be able to get you a good career where you don't have to worry about nothing. And it had taken care of you all, what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And I had to explain that to my son. My son is he 33 years old. And I've been in this business since 19. So I've been almost out here 36 years.
Yeah.
So I practically raised you.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Doing this without missing any beat. You see what I'm saying? It never brought me down. I had to learn how to budget my money. That's another thing is construction is not a type of career where you sit there and spend your money as you get it.
Yeah.
You had to learn that when it came to the wintertime, that's where you spent your money. You saved in the summer, spent in the winter.
Winner. Yep.
And that was a new thing to me because, again, it's 20 some years old, making $25, $30 an hour. Hey,
That's
you,
some
you,
good
you, you
money.
you
Yeah.
see what I'm
Shoot.
saying? I'm saying to
Shoot.
myself, it's like, what I got to save right now? Look,
Yep.
if I blow it from when I was 20 to 30, I still got another 20 more years I can come back and
Yeah.
make that difference. Knowing today, I should have planned when I first came out the gate.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I could have been a lot further. I'm not complaining where I'm sitting at right now, but I feel like I could have been a lot more advanced in a lot of areas that I'm sitting at right now, and no complaints out of it. It just taught me that you had to discipline yourself. Didn't know it, didn't know what it meant to discipline yourself. I just thought, hey, I'm making this type of money. I can go out here get any type of car. Look, I had a black Mazda lowrider with wheels on it, a system, customized system, all in the bed, with tinted windows. You see what I'm saying? Look, I thought
Just
I thought I
murdered
was the
out.
one. You
Yep.
see what I'm saying? Look, hey, on a construction company, pulling up, and that's another thing is I never ever took my Mazda truck on a union job
Mm.
because I used to hear if you pulled up in a
Oh.
foreign car that when you come back out, your car might be turned over on its hood
Uh,
or look picked up by the crane sitting there saying we don't allow foreign materials over here in on a union job. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
So all those things were presented to me. So I was thankful that my mom would always let me drive her car
Yeah.
until my brother gave me a Pinto,
Ooh,
and
nice.
and that was my work car to get back and forth, and I would use my truck to do my remodeling because throughout the journey of pace, I was on the side. I was doing. We had our own um, what I want to say a real estate company where my brother would go out and buy houses and flip it,
Oh,
and
okay.
I would come and do all the work there. So while I was at working at pace, I had people working for me during the day
Oh, wow.
going to do these turnovers on these houses to keep things going. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? When my dad retired, he ended up going full time in it. So that's when I ended up opening up my business and coming in and throwing my part in that I was the person who could fix them all up. My dad was the head and my brother was the mortgage broker. You see
Wow.
what I'm saying? So it was a circle of us getting it together. Hey, I love carpentry. When it came to it, my grandfather always said that I had the trades in my hands. I could do things. He would show me how to paint, things like that. When I used to go to Arkansas every summer to spend the weekend, a couple months with him, he would show me those things. So I thank God that I had those men in my life
Yeah.
that, regardless how I have ventured life, what I found out, what I've done, how I explored the things, never ever been into the point that I had to worry about that I was, going the wrong route. A lot of people started looking up at me. People was like, "Oh, you blessed, man. You come out of high school making $25, $30 an hour, got a good job, still staying home." And I was staying at home with mom,
Yeah.
and it was like, "Oh man, how did you get into it?" And I kept explaining to everybody, in the operators union. Well, it was hard to get in. You had to be picked, and again, is they only pick so many minorities to get in
Yeah.
to meet their quota. Uh, thank God for some good mentors in the operators back then that helped me through the journey to tell me to keep pushing. Hey, you know what? You could be something out there. Just keep putting initiative into it, and I did. Um, to go back and to say that the journey that I say that I could say that I see now, uh, after I ran that journey of being with Pace for 23, 24 years, uh, I felt myself that I reached to the point that it was the end of the rope. I couldn't advance no more. I was in the union. Uh, didn't really know how to say advance in the union because basically once you become a journeyman operator, you're a journeyman operator.
Yeah.
There's no other higher, step for that.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing that could get greater is the money. You see what I'm saying? And so I kept um, exploring out there, saying, you know what, man, I can't stop here. What am I gonna do? Didn't really want to go to another asphalt company, even though I had asphalt companies looking me up, telling me,
Yeah.
"Hey, come over here, man. We can
We'll get you
use you.
going.
We can
Yeah.
use you." You said, "I'm like, I don't know. Let me think about this." Well, what woke me up one day was to understand is uh, a guy come up to me and he said, "What do you value yourself at?" What do you mean? He said, what are you worth? He said, with all the experience you got, all the training you've been through, you feel like you're at the end of the road. What are you looking for? I said, well, I'm looking for someone to take me in to move me to the next step. I said, I've been a superintendent, running a paving crew, running a dirt crew. I said, my crew, we could do it all. We could do sewer work, we can do paving, we can do dirt work, we can lay rock. And, so I was an all around guy. But I couldn't see it in the eyes of Pace anymore because I was to that point. They wouldn't offer me anything.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I went in and I said, hey, guys, I need to do something different. I said, because this is getting boring now. And I want to get more into the management style. I wanna be one of the big guys. And they told me, say, Mike, right now there's no opportunities here for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I decided to start looking. Didn't know what to do about the union. Didn't really want to be a union man that just sat in the hall and just jumped around the jobs just to make a paycheck.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
then I felt like that would have lost all my motivation of what I have built myself to be, and I couldn't go back and say that I make less money now. So I got to find something. So back then is I was scared to put my stuff out on the internet because we didn't know. People used to say they come and
Yeah.
steal your identity and this
Yeah.
and that. Well, uh, they was talking about LinkedIn, and they said, you know what? If you want to advance and get better, you got to get out there and network.
Mhm.
What is that like? What you mean? So now I gotta have some type of computer experience to get out there and network. How do you network? You see what I'm saying? And LinkedIn back then was small.
Mhm.
Uh, was it? A lot of people didn't know about it. But what I seen was those that did know about it was getting in good paying jobs.
What year was this?
Like, let's see here. Let's say 12 years ago.
Okay.
12 years ago.
To 2013,
Yep.
14.
Yep. Because what it did was I'm still missing one piece to really say that I know how to build a road all the way through. And that was civil.
Okay.
I didn't have civil experience up under my belt, civil highway.
Yeah.
Well, end up with the experience I had, and I didn't even know how to craft a resume. You see what I'm saying? Because I jumped in the union. I didn't think that I needed to go any further. I thought that, you know what, I was going to be here for 30, 40 years,
Retired.
retire from there with no problem. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't know about building a resume. What do you mean? Well, that's everything you did from the time you come out of high school till now. You write it down. You put down all your accomplishments and your experience and everything and your training, and you shoot this out to this LinkedIn, and LinkedIn will put it out there worldwide. Oh wow. Well, how do I get started? Talked to a few guys that were a little older than me. It was like knew how to create a good resume. He said, man, jot down your stuff. And he said, I'll sit down and put it in format for you. Built my first resume. Everything looked good. Shot it out there. End up finding a job offer. Came through, and basically, these guys was looking for a guy with my experience in road building, and then looking for somebody to run their sewer department, right? I was like, well, I kind of know how to do sewers. I know what the aspect of it and what the end goal is. You see what I'm saying? Dug them, with the track hole before. You see what I'm saying? Did underground tunneling, so I kind of know what's going on. You know what? Let me get this. So I end up going to a a minority company. It was an all black company called Abner Engineering. They were an engineering survey company that was taking on construction part too, a
Nice.
division. End up show you how things work. The owner, his wife, we went to high school together.
Oh snap!
so I was like,
Small world. Like,
small
what the hell?
world, man. You know what? I should have been here first. You see what I'm saying? Instead of going there, I should have no. But it all worked out to where they gave me opportunity.
Yeah.
I never sat in an interview for 2 hours. That's how long they interviewed me. They asked me questions. They test me. They say, "Hey, you sure you really want to do this? This what is your end goal to this?" And I told them what my passion was. You see what I'm saying? And I built myself through with them for 6 years, learning and getting the knowledge of civil construction.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I've done a lot of big buildings. That's when I started learning about Brinkman, McCarthy, Albert Ricci was the biggest contractor in Missouri. I was working for them, doing a lot of things in Situform Mid America, Alpha Auto Tunneling Company. So I had all that background. Didn't know that all that incorporated into this journey now, learning heavy civil. Worked for them for 6 years. End up they needed to go big, and basically their destiny was not to get big in sewer work. Basically, it was to get more notice for their surveying
Okay.
and getting out there. So they had a company in Chicago, a company in St. Louis there. We end up closing the division down there of construction, and I was like, okay, my resume. I got some more to add now.
Yeah.
I started adding more and more and more onto that resume. Now that resume really looking good. You see what I'm saying? Did some training that I instilled there at Abner of getting all the men together, and I did my first safety program coming back to work for them. That's when I first got out there and started standing up in front of my guys and speaking and leading them to success. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was an experience. It kicked off good. I was like, you know what? I love what I'm doing now. You know what? I'm training people. I see it in progress. I see people become better. And you know what? The respect that I was getting out there was like, you know what, Mike? You being seen. Well, after that, I started having to deal with all the unions. So the union started knowing about me, knowing that, hey, this guy's solid. When he say he need a top notch guy. Hey, we send him, and that's the experience I got. I started building a relationship with them. After I finished that journey there at Abner, I put myself back out there to the headhunters now. Didn't know what they could do, but once you put your resume out there on LinkedIn, you got headhunters out there that will personally call you and say, hey, I got this perfect job for you, man. They looking for this and looking for that. I ain't never been out of St. Louis. Never, you see what I'm saying? Never been out of Missouri, put it that way. Traveling? I don't know. Is it really worth it? You see what I'm saying? Because I never thought that I would have to even move out of Missouri because I've never seen my parents move out of Missouri. You see what I'm saying? When I was born, so I was like, oh man, moving from Missouri. You tell me something better out there? Yeah. So I had the choice. I had three choices. I had the choice to come to Colorado, California, or Florida. Well, at that point, California was having earthquakes. Florida was having hurricanes. And I was like, and everybody kept saying is before I even knew what Colorado was about, man, there ain't nothing but cold and snow. You know what? I can deal with the cold and snow. I can't deal with, I said, after learning how Mother Nature does with water, ain't no control in water. You see what I'm saying? If there's a flood, you got to ride it out. You know, if there's a hurricane, tornado, anything like that, earthquakes, ain't nothing you do about that. The world start opening up. That's all I can say is hope you don't get sucked in.
You get in a blizzard, all it is you just stay home and
drink
coffee and
you see what I'm saying?
movies.
Correct. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, cold, okay, you know what? And it was like, Colorado is dry. You used to high humidity from St. Louis. I'm like, but you know what? That's a whole different atmosphere. You know, Florida, you go down there. I've been around heat. I've been around high humidity.
It ain't fun. It ain't the funnest thing in the world.
You see what
I'm not a fan of that.
let me go up here to the northern part of the state.
Well,
so
it's a different challenge, also.
Well, after looking at it, correct. After looking at what they were offering me and doing, basically, I had all that experience: dirt work, asphalt work, not knowing that I was going to get back into road building journey. I thought after I left Pace, I wasn't going to go around road building no more. I was going to go strictly into heavy highway, heavy civil stuff, underground utilities, putting water lines in, things like that, putting sewers in before they bring the buildings up. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to even get back around asphalt no more. Cool. So I was like, there's an asphalt company in Colorado that's, like your experience and think that you can help them turn some things around. And I said, when I first looked at it, I was like, asphalt, man, I'm finna get back into this. But I'm a dirt guy now. You see what I'm saying? I'm
like, be on that heat or what?
You see what I'm saying? I'm like, forget the asphalt. I want to be a dirt guy. I want to go and finish this out. And basically, that's what they were hiring me for. They needed somebody to come in here as a grading superintendent and bring their costs back down. I was like, and I ain't got to be around asphalt. I ain't got to smell it. Hey, this worked because I got tired of my clothes smelling like asphalt, the truck smelling like asphalt, the oil all in you. And, it was just like, I don't have to smell that stuff no more. And then when I kept smelling, it was like, man, I'm so glad to be away from this stuff, And it was a changer for me because now, I'm single, I'm by myself, even though I have kids, and was saying to myself is what is this gonna look like? My parents were gone. So I don't have nobody to cry to if I fail up here, you see what I'm saying, in Colorado. Well, I did it professionally. And the company was Asphalt Specialties. I came up here and I stayed up here for 3 days. And I just kind of viewed the state before I even had the interview. The headhunter sent me up here. And I checked things out. And this is when I seen construction was booming.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Still a lot of places where they are building now, there wasn't no sights or signs of that they were going to even build there. It
Yeah.
was just a lot of cornfields and a lot of
yeah.
open spaces. And where you did go, you did see a lot of construction going on. And everybody kept saying is, Colorado is like a bubble, man. Hey, it's a moneymaker, man. It's booming. Man, how long this been going on? Well, when I looked at it, it was like this has been going on, Mike, for 10, 15 years. And a lot of guys at home knew about Colorado because they used to come up here, go skiing and all that. Well, I'm not a skier.
Yeah.
That doesn't entice me to come here. I don't care about skiing anything. I'm looking at, hey, can I go up there and really make a good career and survive? And I did my research, found out what the going rates were up here to live, what housing costs to live, and started sitting down. I came back home, put all that stuff down on paper, sat there and talked to my brother and my sister about it. At that time, my daughter she was what, 25, 25. And I said, hey, you know what? I said, what you think about this opportunity? I said, I'm single. I think I've ran my course with the union. I already got a good retirement set up there, 23, 24 years. I think I can start a new journey and work on my second one. Because I seen my dad have 2 retirements.
Yeah.
My dad retired from St. Louis County, 25 years, and then he went into MSD. And he retired for MSD. And I was like, man, how can a man
Retire twice.
retire twice? And it was like, start off early, you get 20-some years, and you get anything over 20 years is a good retirement. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So, okay, you know what? I still have a chance to get some years in to do this.
Yeah.
Came up here, had an interview with Asphalt Specialties. They liked me. And they said, hey, when can you be here? I said, give me a month. Let me get out of my house, because I was renting my house and everything. Let me get out of that. Let me make sure my kids are okay. I'm going to come up here. Let me find a place to stay so I can make sure. I said, I'm not going to stay in no hotel, no apartment. I need a house. I'm coming from a house. I need a house, And they said, okay, all right. So I come back, had the interview. Everything went good. After I knew that they wanted me, I came back the third time. And that's when I went around and started looking at a place to stay. Because I kept saying to myself is because what they were telling me is Asphalt Special is a high volume company. Once we get going, I'm like, how I'm going to have time to look for an apartment. I'm working 6 days a week. I'm going to stay in an extended stay. I ain't going to have no cook meal. I got all my stuff. Why do I want to take it and put it in the storage? I'm like, no, that ain't going to satisfy me. I got to do this right. I got to find somewhere where when I come, it's home. That way, when my kids want to come, they got a place to lay their head. If I want to have company, I got somewhere to entertain somebody, And it worked out good. Found a place in Brighton. That was a journey, how that worked, how I come about looking at that, getting that house. And then I moved up here. Didn't know what type of construction industry was up here. Knowing that this was a half union, half non-union state. I was going into the non-union part of it. Didn't really hear anything about the union here. So I didn't know if it was strong or not. It wasn't as strong as what it was in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I said, this is going to be easy then, because you know what? I come from a union state.
Yeah.
I've managed some union guys, changed my direction of learning. Now I got the full circle of building the road. I can lay the sewer line, I can lay the water lines, I can put curb and gutter down. I can do it all now. Hey, I'm good now. So once I came up here, started working for Asphalt Specialties, I started seeing what was going on. And I had a challenge in front of me because, again, I've never, ever been around a state that was 85% Hispanic.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yep. Never, now I've been up here almost 6 years, so now I'm 49 years old, and I'm saying to myself, I don't know no Spanish.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I came and started my first day here and took the ride around with Sam, I'm seeing all these Hispanic crews.
Yeah.
Like, how do y'all communicate against these people? You see what I'm saying?
It's like
What do
cerveza.
Yeah, I know
hey,
exactly that.
what do you do? I'm hearing them calling people jalapeno and all this, and I'm looking at these guys and these some big old guys, and I'm like,
You're like, he says his name's Jose, his name's Jose, his name says Seuss, he's
Right.
Chewy.
That's
I know
right.
the difference.
I'm like, what do he said, look, he said, these guys, man, he said they know some English. He said, but if they get comfortable with you, he said, these guys take care of you.
Yeah.
I said, so I got to build a relationship with them. And what I used to work off of was called no like and trust kill. That's what it is, no like and trust. I always been taught through that through my career of construction. Always get in with your clients, build that trust with them, your inspectors, your employees, and once you start building that relationship with them, things will start coming around for you. You see what I'm saying? Okay, well I did that, and like I said, I love dirt, so I was like, man, I ain't got to go around asphalt at all. I ain't even got to smell it. How many paving crews? That's when they had, I think, four paving crews, and I had like 3 or 4 dirt crews. Looking at it, looking who was experienced. Well, what these guys didn't know was I was a heavy equipment operator.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew how to run motor graders. I knew how to run track hoes. I knew how to run skids. I knew how to run rollers. You see what I'm saying? But y'all process was different because when I started seeing guys doing work, I used to ask them, I say, so you all gonna put rock on top of that dirt? Like, yeah. I said, so how do y'all know the dirt is solid? Oh, we recondition it. What you mean recondition?
Wow.
We apply water to it, Mike, and water absorbs in it. We turn it over, the air gets in it, stirify it, and you wouldn't believe how solid it gets. I said, I got to see this. I said, because back in St. Louis, we never, very rarely put anything on dirt. We dug down 3-4 feet and came back up with shot rock, 1-inch rock, and then just kept trickling all the way up to half-inch rock for stabilization of base. Oh, wow. Nothing was never laid on dirt. So I'm like, you're telling me that you can? It ain't mud, huh? Because what I learned was
you put water in
dirt, it's mud. So you telling me y'all are strictly just wallowing around in mud? It was like, well, it gets slick, but after it settles and we roll it and compact it, you wouldn't believe how hard it is.
Yeah, I guess.
And I'm like, I got to see this. So after seeing the process, I was like, wow, damn, this is okay. So y'all don't have to go through the long journey of doing any cement treatment. Well, we do that too, Mike, if we can't stabilize it.
Occasionally it's regarding how much of that moisture is being contained in that dirt. If
Correct.
It's so messed up.
And I was like, wow, okay, it's a dry state. And it was like, yeah, see, all the moisture gets sucked out as soon as the sun comes. All the moisture gets sucked out. We could wet this thing down, and Mike, I'm telling you, in 30 minutes, watch it. It'd be dry as a bone. It was like, because you're so close to the sun. Okay, this makes sense. St. Louis is not. That's why it's so much moisture in the air and all that, and that's why things stay wet there a lot longer. Okay.
What do you think was the toughest change when you came from Missouri to here?
The toughest change was the culture.
Oh, okay.
It was the culture. It was seeing how you all live, what y'all done, and the means and methods of it. Because again, is I came from a state that, by me being a Freemason, I always dressed up in suits. Everywhere I went, I was sharp. You see what I'm saying? But when I came here, it was more, I kept asking, well, where do the people hang out that wear sport coats and jeans and nice shoes and button-down shirts? And it was like, Mike, not around here. I was like, so
Castle Rock?
I was
Castle Rock, right?
I was like, so what do y'all do to go out? Well, we go out, but we wear hoodies
Yeah.
and jeans and tennis
Some nice
shoes,
sneakers. Yeah.
right? And a ball cap and oh, okay, well, I don't have none of that stuff. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so I had to get adapted to that and understand that, and then just you know, people were friendly. People, people took you in with no problem. Before what the world is today. So I started going out a lot. Hanging out, listening. I'm a big music fan of like jazz and stuff like that. So I found out that 16th Street Mall was the place to go and hang out to listen to live music.
Yep.
That was right up my alley.
Yep.
That's where I found where people go at the jazz place to put their sport coat on. And so I found me a place that I can feel comfortable and ain't outdressed. And I see some people around like me and I can go and shake a leg a little bit, you see what I'm saying? Have a few cocktails and go home. As I started understanding what was going on, people just didn't have a sense of direction. People didn't want to show the initiative because people were just around here just put in positions.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? As a body, I need you. I don't know if you can do it, but you know what? Take it anyway. That's what I found. As I observed that, it was never my job to come up here and be an operation manager. I didn't have a clue. You see what I'm saying? That I was going to even come up here to be that. When I met Sam, that's who was the operation manager.
Yeah.
He told me what position he needed me at as a dirt superintendent. Cool. You know what? I don't even want to be in the asphalt. I don't even want to go around it. But you know what? I'm going to go around it just to see how y'all guys pave because I know how to pave.
Yeah.
Well, looking at that was different. The way guys were paving here. A whole different ball game from what I learned. And I've been in 101 paving since I came join the operators. You see what I'm saying? So what I started seeing was lack of training. People are not training here. People are just like you said is. People are coming, the Hispanics are coming saying, I need a job. And if you found a Hispanic that knew how to do that, you didn't ask him to do any more.
Yep.
That's your job.
That's what you do.
If you're a screed man, that's your job. You know what I'm saying? If you're a blade guy, that's your job. You see what I'm saying? And these guys took it seriously. They didn't show you. They didn't pass it on to nobody.
Nope.
But the industry, as my concern, as what really puts me apart and make me got to explore more and getting into saying that there has to be some training going on in order to make these young guys start understanding that this is a good career. You see what I'm saying? This can provide for your family, but where do you turn? See, back in St. Louis, I had areas where I could network, training facilities that I could go to. Up here, I got to prove myself that I know what I'm talking about, but where can I go to get on to some of these more committees to learn more about the way Colorado does it? Not how St. Louis does it, but the industry doesn't change. We still got to go back to basics. What does that look like? And so, me being here 6 years, seeing how guys were not advancing. Most people you talk to has been doing the same position for years.
Yeah.
Ain't tried nothing different. Things were ran and told, and what I want to say dictated from one person. Nobody else had any empowerment around here. Nobody had any accountability. Nobody wanted to be responsible for nothing. It was basically, it wasn't their fault because they just did what they were told.
They were told, yeah.
They didn't never think. And the thing is I started seeing myself that the industry is going to start going down because you know what? If you ain't training, like you said, is the new generation, Gen 2s like you all,
Gen Z,
what Gen Zs, or how do you get these people that who already got 25, 30 years? If they retire, where are you going to be?
Well, and I think that's one thing I respect about Edgar, because he has his own crew.
Mm-hmm.
He started there when he was kind of young also, and everybody on his crew knows how to run every single piece of equipment
Mm-hmm.
because he knows that he needs them if someone calls out. But like other crews, I saw like, oh no, we don't let him get on it.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Because if you don't let him get on it,
How would he learn?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then if this person calls out, we're screwed
Mm-hmm.
because nobody else knows how to run it,
Mm-hmm.
which is something I respect about, you, Jimmy,
Mm-hmm.
Edgar, like I said, Lorenzo. Like it's something that is wanted from a lot of the people in the position that they were in.
Correct. Because you look at it is what I see is the aspect of, you know, as I was learning guys around here when I came to that company, that you had a lot of seasoned guys like me that were getting ready to just hang it up,
Yeah.
never really grooming people. Again, is not thinking to keep the ball revolving.
Yep.
I could say that with Edgar. I seen Edgar. Edgar's been there for 10 years. And like Edgar said, is Mike, I come here not knowing nothing. Had a good mentor, Joe Gillian, those guys that he watched and they took up under his wing. That is the problem with nowadays is people don't want to take people up under their wing.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, oh, you know what, just because I had this experience, I'm ready. Opportunity has to present itself. You see what I'm saying? Back then in construction, yes, word of mouth. If you told a guy you can do it, he trusted you can do it.
Yeah.
Nowadays is people are scared. It costs the company a lot of money to take to try.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Go out there and take that gamble. That hey, you know what? You say you can do it, but do I really know
Yeah.
that you can?
Can't really do it.
And really, and regardless that you don't know how to do it, is someone giving you the tools to learn how to do it? Because again, this is an industry that you can't go to somebody's door and knock on and say, I want to be a asphalt operator. I want to learn how to loop. You see what I'm saying? Now the dirt aspect, yes, but as far as the end result of paving these roads and putting these roads down, it's all on hands-on training.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can learn it. You see what I'm saying? And then if you're not putting yourself into an initiative of picking up things and books to read how to be these positions as foremen, superintendents, project supers, project managers, construction managers, owners. You see what I'm saying? You gotta learn that whole mechanism of what it is to sit up on top of a CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's also not just the machines that you worry about. It's finding a way to lead people and do something that sometimes they don't want to do because it's too hot outside or something. You're having to give them that motivation to
Correct.
say, hey, we're all in this together. I'm going to lead you to the promised land.
Correct.
And sometimes, it's hard to do that.
Yes.
And something I've seen from you is that you are able to do that. Where did you learn that from?
Again, is I took advantage of just first, like I said, is going to the STP classes. After that motivated me. I knew I was manager material. You see what I'm saying? I knew that my end of my journey was not to just be sitting on a piece of equipment. What else enticed me was, and like I said, is what I said earlier is I became a Freemason. A lot of people have different opinions of Freemason, but once you understand it's because my grandfather was a Freemason, my dad was a Freemason, and my brother was a Freemason. But one thing I did was, or what I learned was, I took the journey without asking them to bring me in. I went around them, and they never knew that I was becoming a Freemason until I crossed. And once I crossed, that's when my dad said to me is, now we can have conversation as grown men. Because the motto of a Freemason is take a good man and make him better. through that journey of being a Freemason and learning, I have 19 degrees and going through the houses of going up the left side, is that in order to run a lodge of 40, 50 people, you have to be one, be a leader. Two, you have to know how to manage people. Three, you cannot sit up here and you had to learn how to straddle the fence and be biased and just listen to people and learn how to put their problems together and come up with one solution. That showed me because I am a past master. So I went through the journeys of the seats and ran this lodge for 2 years straight. Got the lodge of the year. So when I started accomplishing those things on my own with the being in that organization, I knew I could lead someone because you know what? I led this lodge to success with men behind me
Yeah.
doing the work. And the only thing I did was implement it and put it out there of showing them how to get there. And they took upon themselves. So that made me start thinking is, you know what? In this asphalt industry, I can lead by example. I can make men greater if they want it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it to you. You got to show me that you want it. And I'm going to show you how you work hard now. And at near the end, after 5, 10 years, you can see yourself being in the same position I am. So I started incorporating myself, getting books, that I read, construction farming books, construction superintendent books. I started learning everybody's part and what their responsibility is.
Yeah.
What you have to be accountable for and acknowledge up on and empower you with. And that's what I seen that asphalt specialists needed. They needed somebody to come in here and really look at what the company's trying to do, where they're trying to get to, not knowing that he had sons at that time. And just thinking is regardless that he's running it, that hey, there might be an opportunity that I could be vice president of something. That's what I was looking at my next move: vice president of grading, vice president of operations, vice president of construction, somewhere. Just that titlement of saying this is where I'm going with it. And this was a state that needed my help to initiate that.
Yeah.
There's still not a lot of networking places out here that I see. It's very quiet. I am getting to learn more places. I am putting myself involved in different networking things that involves Colorado up here. Another good thing is the AGC, Associated General Contractors of St. Louis, of Colorado. They have it up here. That's another entity of saying that a lot of information out there to make you grow. The NAPA, National Asphalt Pavement Association,
Yeah.
MAPA, you see what I'm saying? Things like that. Those things that I have seen and got being a part of helped me understand is now this could be nationwide. This just don't sit here because now that I got to see Colorado, now I understand that this could go bigger than what it, start blowing up because a lot of people don't know how to get into this industry.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Very true.
People don't know how to become pave operators and then knowing that you could become superintendents. They think that, oh, this is my stop. But this is not something that can happen over a year. This is, you look at it, if I did 23 years of it, I'm going on 35 years of just true industry of construction. And I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still possessing and giving some nuggets out here to people to make them understand is you still have a chance. But what I find out that what people are wanting now is they want to have the opportunity. Is the opportunity given? And way I look at how you can be successful at it is always have in your mind what your value is, what you're worth. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Everything has a dollar amount. No matter, you look at the stuff we put on has a dollar amount. So why can't a person, a human being, have a dollar amount of what they expect to come to the table with. And once I learned how to say, you know what, nah, you ain't this ain't worth it. You have to look deep down inside of it. Look how the company grows, what they do for advancement, what other opportunities can you have after playing the role for them and find out that you can't go no further than where you're at now. You know, it does get depressing. But if you already know your worth, who can short you? Nobody
Yeah.
but yourself.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Do people, how long did it take for me to understand and find that, hey, Asphalt Special, I didn't know nothing about them. To me, it's a great company. I don't know anything else about any other asphalt company here in Colorado. It's not my journey to find out. My journey is here.
Yeah.
What I leave and instill, and I feel like I have left a good legacy behind me so far of what I've done. You know, of those who have been through my journey with me here from day one.
Yeah.
You know, I take prong now into being more of a mentor of young guys, older people that, hey, just don't know management skills. Learning how to get the team to work for you without you even having to be upfront. Learning how to sit there and get your team to understand and accept who you are. No matter, I might not know it all, but if we all put our experience together in the years that we here in the room, shouldn't be no reason why we're missing anything. But the point is, if we don't know how to come together, that's the hardest part, and that's the hardest part here. Is people don't know how to come together. Communications
Everything.
is the key to everything in life. And when you stop communicating and you shut yourself down, only thing you're doing is allowing people now to come and put things in the midst of between you that will confuse you because now you're listening to negativity. Positivity communication sets you board. Uh, like I said, it's all in the works of what he wants you to have at the end of the day upstairs. It's nothing here on earth that whatever his journey and his path is will set us to, as long as you align yourself with it. He didn't say you weren't gonna go on no obstacles. You have to learn how to fight the battles. You have to learn how to step aside sometimes. And again, is my break in road building. I never knew that I would be here doing the same thing at this age.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know, our family, me and my brothers, my dad, and my mom. I mean, we always talk about. My mom always says, everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And it isn't until now that I'm like a little bit older that I realize I'm like, oh yeah, like I actually went through this because now I'm going through it, and I already know what I need to do. Or you know, I learned something from a past mistake, and I'm like, I'm not doing that again.
Correct.
And that's what I always think about. Like, I'm thankful for everything he's done for me and all the obstacles that I've had to go through, because I wouldn't be able to be who I am without that.
Correct.
If you have an easy life, I mean, you don't really experience too much, and you don't have too much knowledge
Right.
to even give to your kids. And that's what I always think about with my two daughters. You know, I was like, you don't want to touch the stove because it burns. Because I know, because I touched the stove, you know? So it's like, I think you're right. Like, experience is just everything.
And you have to, and just like you just said, of 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 telling your children that that stove is hot. You can repeatedly tell that person over and over, but somewhere down the line is they have to try it themselves.
Yeah. They're gonna believe. They're gonna.
You see what I'm
believe
saying?
do
And
themselves.
that's how life, construction, anything you do, whatever you do, is you can hear somebody tell you all day that asphalt is a good career. But until you find out
Do it. Yeah.
and do it yourself, you don't know. Because some people look at it as, man, that stuff stinks. That
Yep.
stuff hot.
It's hard.
It's hard. You can't go to Walmart and get boots from Walmart and talking about you're gonna go and lay asphalt.
Yeah.
By the time you put them on the next night, you need some more boots.
Yeah.
So there's things you had to do to just ensure that if this is the career you invested in it. You see what I'm saying? And that's how I grew up and understood, because again, I was wondering why guys were going out buying $100 boots. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna go out and buy these $40 boots. I ain't finna go out here and go to Red Wing.
Yeah.
I can say, look, I can say that $60, $70 on some tennis shoes or something
Yeah.
like that, and then find out is if you don't take care of your feet, how you gonna continue to chase the grandkids?
Yep.
You see what I'm
Exactly,
saying?
yeah.
When I came back the last time, my first month, I literally thought I had like fractures in my foot. I told my lady, I'm like, I cannot walk right now. Like, this is insane.
Right.
So I went out there and got some better boots.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is actually not that bad. Like, because of the amount of walking that you're doing, especially
Correct.
like as a labor,
Correct.
sorry.
Right.
A labor,
Mm-hmm.
you're on the ground.
Right.
And you're having to go up the dirt, it's all uneven, and then you
Mm-hmm.
go broken concrete sometimes, and then you're going back onto the asphalt, which is hot, and you're just moving around a lot of elements on the ground that your feet aren't used to. But when you get the good equipment or good accessories that you need to help you to do your job,
Right.
it's a lot better.
So we good on time still?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple questions. We're
Okay.
about to hit probably an
Okay.
hour,
We're at
120.
an hour and 26.
Yeah, so
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Okay.
We'll probably try to keep it a little bit close to that 1 hour and a half and
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
Just some questions we wanted to kind of ask too. Like, I mean, with today's age and stuff, what is something that you're looking at when you are hiring someone? Right, you're currently right now you're in the hiring process.
Right.
We won't get too deep
Right.
into who you're hiring, who you're
Right.
not, but like for the stuff you're trying to build and what you want to instill and stuff into your workforce and stuff. What are things that you're looking at in people's traits and that you're going for?
Well, I mean, what I do is, one, like I said, this is a hard industry to hire in, because you don't have a lot of experienced people.
Yeah.
So what I look at is, one thing I look at is I don't really look at age. I look at how much experience have you had, what your resume is saying, what you do, what you have done. When I look at a person that doesn't have a lot of jobs on their resume, that let me know is they stuck in there. They're looking for a home.
Yeah.
They're not chasing the money.
Yeah.
I look at people that are coachable, that are willing, that again is I always say to people is, you don't know how good you are until you get challenged.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to get challenged. If you don't get challenged at your position, how do you know how good you are? So when it's time to evaluate you and promote you, what measures do I have? If you're never challenged and you just do the same thing over and over again and you're never ever trying to make yourself better. So I look at is, will this person take construction criticism? I look at how they carry themselves now. What is the end goal?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? How many more years are you looking to be into this? That plays in the factor is, if I do invest into you, will I be able to eventually get something out of it that will benefit the company? What positions are you what really are you trying to get to?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that plays a factor in when I sit down and interview people. And then another thing is that sitting as operation manager, it's not my job to find people for every position I got, every division. That's where, again, is up here is, as I started learning what Colorado was doing, is people were not empowering people to make decisions for those that will work up under them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So when I started getting my management team together and figuring out where they were lacking and giving them the empowerment to do what they were supposed to do as a job title, it helped me sit back and look at the whole umbrella
Yeah.
of what are these people really lacking here, from laborers all the way up to superintendents.
Yeah.
You know, Opportunity is for anybody. Your journey is based on how far you want to go. I can say what the opportunities are out there, but are you looking for me to come and give it to you? Or are you looking for me to say that, you know what, you listened to where I said I was, where things were bad at or wasn't making good profit for the money, and you decided to take upon yourself and start getting into it and getting involved before the position was even offered to you. See, that's what I look at is how are you going to come in if I hire you? What are you bringing outside the circle that I'm hiring you in to add to the table? That's how you build respect. That's how you show people that you want to give them opportunity. You're there to teach them. I'm not there to say you by yourself, but there's some things that if I point you in direction, I want you to do the homework. Don't believe everything I say. Challenge me.
Yeah.
That I'm giving you good information, that I'm pointing you in the right direction, and that is being helpful, because eventually, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the skills that I told you that, hey, I need you to go read this, or I need you to go and get involved with this and get to networking. You know, always try to learn and sit back, and you need to observe first. A lot of people want to jump in.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And you don't know what the company's purpose is.
Yep.
You got to find out where the company is trying to head, because eventually, you see nowadays is people think that, oh, they had a guaranteed job and never had to be going to be replaced or lose it, and it's things happening now that people are not paying attention on how it's moving. You see what I'm saying? And then they get caught off guard, and now they're upset because now they don't have a job, and they thought that, hey, I was irreplaceable. I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, complacency. People get complacent.
Yes.
After a while, I mean that's a big thing. When I was like an officer, is complacency kills, and that's with anything. You get too used to the way your life is, and you don't want more. Okay, but you know you're gonna see everyone else pass you,
Right.
because you're just okay with where you are.
Correct. And you don't know how to get to the next level because it's never displayed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That is what I want to say, a closed door that you will have to knock on, and it will open to you when the time reveals.
Yeah.
It's not a door that swings back and forth all the time. You see what I'm saying? Those lower positions is, because again is you have to understand, if you have not worked from the bottom up, and you coming in and you working from the top down, you don't know what that is down there.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Only thing you doing is you are a dictator, because you never ever had boots on the ground. The best person to advance and get something out of it, and like you said, is knowing what they're worth and what it takes to do that, is the person who's in the trenches with you.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like a lot of young guys successfully, in order for you all to get where you're trying to be, you got to do the groundwork. Now, it doesn't say a time limit how long you have to do groundwork just to get up to the next stage. But understand this is nobody's gonna tell you how to get up off the ground.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Even though you see the elevator going upstairs, up and down, you didn't even know it was a second floor. You see what I'm saying? And you keep wondering why these people going in there, but then when you get up there, you don't even know how to get it open.
Yeah.
And that's what discourage a lot of young guys, because again is the world have possessed that we need to come out here and just start from the top.
Well, today, I mean, we talk about it a lot, is the participation trophies. A lot of people, they don't understand the hard work that you have to do to get that first place trophy.
Correct.
Because everyone's handed everything from when they started at a young age. And I mean, that's kind of what I saw coming in just anywhere, actually. Did you just walking around or whatever, like, I want that. Okay, what are you going to give me for it? I thought you were just going to give it to me like my mom and dad did. No,
Yeah.
like, you got to
You
work
know,
for it.
I want my paycheck, and it's like, well, you only work 10 hours. Well, I want you to pay me all 40. And it's like, well, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it works.
Correct. So again is way I felt is I have gave a lot of volunteer into this business where I didn't get paid. That got me to now I'm getting it back.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And that's the things that people don't understand is even though you want the first place trophy, is the second and third still good as the first place? People don't think about that.
No.
What determines why? Is it just the number 1, 2, and 3? What determines that because he's got first place, that second and third is not even more valuable than the first place? Because again, is that person who made it to the first place or won it, he doesn't know what it took to fall behind.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Those guys, second and third, see what the first place guy is doing, but they don't understand how
You got that.
to get there.
Yep.
But they're going to keep striding for that. And that's why I tell people is being a leader, being a title as the big guy, is not always the winner.
Yeah.
The winner is the guy who's always back there watching it all come together.
Yeah.
And that's where I like to be. I'm not a person, even when I got my lodge to go in the directions, I was a guy who's putting on the work. And they come up and be like, well, who's the worship master? Oh, he is. And I was standing all in the midst of it. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't sitting back there on the other side of it when we did volunteer work, sitting back there doing all the PR work.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't come out to it till the end when it all said and done and I knew we won. Then I came out and said, hey, without you all, we could not all celebrate this.
Yeah.
And that's the way I feel in construction. If I can't get everybody together on the same page, I'm losing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a losing battle. But then as I understood and started dissecting the word of failure, most people as kids, when you come up, when you fail, you feel like the world's over.
Yeah.
There's no other opportunities. But failure is the beginning of the race. Now, it's up to you. After you sit back and if you break the words down, failure, it's a stepping stone for you to learn how to pick yourself back up, know that you're a winner, and that you can continue to succeed, even though there's no opportunity. But you can get better at what you do.
Yeah.
Who's stopping you? Nobody but yourself. Because the way I feel like if you don't want me to have it, then you're gonna always be in my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's a way out of no way that we continue to observe and we lay those things to other people to guide us out of because we don't know how. And again, it's a true statement. You're supposed to make that your stepping stone. You don't have to step on them, step over them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They can't keep you back forever.
Yeah.
But see, we as young men, as you all are, we get discouraged, we get upset, we start getting attitudes, and we feel like, oh man, this ain't working, man. Oh man, look at that guy. Yeah, man, y'all just promoted another guy. But see, don't compare yourself to their journey because another again is you might be around longer than they are, and they ain't gonna get at the end what you want.
Yep.
And that's the way I looked at it is I had guys when I was going through the apprenticeship mad at me because I was getting offered something that I didn't even know was coming at me. I didn't go up to the owners and say, hey, can you send me the STP? Can you make me a superintendent? I just said, hey, I was glad to become an operator. You know, I didn't know I was going to be a superintendent. I didn't know I was going to be an operation manager. Didn't know what this journey was going to entail. But as I got away from St. Louis, it opened my eyes. And sometimes it says that. Sometimes you just got to get away from something that you're used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And try something different. And that will let you know where you stand. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, because again, I don't have no family, no friends here. And I was like, man, what I'm going to do? But then that was my point of time to where it was time for me to get back into learning, It's a different culture. How am I gonna get these guys to trust me,
Yeah.
to believe in me? And I think I've done a good job to say that I could say most everybody in the field respects me.
Yeah.
I would say most everybody in the field don't mind working hard for me. You see what I'm saying? I take care of them as they take care of me.
Well, and it really changed for me when I saw you on the crew with us a couple years ago.
Correct.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
I was
you
gonna
know,
bring that
it's,
up earlier.
Yeah.
You got-
it's hard to like listen to someone when you're like, you know, you're up there, you don't know what you're talking about, and then you're like, all right, cool, and then you came and then you started running the screed and you start doing. I'm like,
Oh shit.
oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because you was on the finish roller, and
Yeah.
and again is I would just come, and that's why I would tell my paving superintendent Richard that, dude, on Saturdays, that's what I used to do is train.
Yeah.
I said I would go to this crew and I would stay down there all day. I said I would miss golf
Wow.
to stay with these guys because I felt like, you know what, you need me here.
No, and we definitely needed
And
that.
and then that's when you started coming up to me and saying, "Hey man, I'm paying attention to what you're doing, and how I didn't even think you would know those things. How did you learn that?" And again, it's the story behind the story behind the story
Yep.
that encouraged me because I wasn't a laborer. When I got into construction, I said to myself, "Is my hands didn't fit a shovel." I would never. I felt labor was the lowest you can go, quick and easy to get in, and it was not. It was nothing spectacular about being a laborer. But operator, bricklayer, you know, things like that, having those type of experience behind your
Yeah.
belt, you meant something because they needed you if you could run a backhoe, a crane, and things like that. And so, but it didn't stop me from learning the beginning
Yeah.
stages of construction.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like, and I tell everybody it's true, you got to crawl before you got to walk.
Yeah. No.
There's some people out there in this industry ain't never crawled. There's some
Yeah.
people just step right into it and they feel like they got it. But the problem is what we have to look at is when you got people that will work up under your administration and come in faithfully, do their job, and go give you 10 all the time.
Yeah.
You think about what you designed and where you have brought yourself. You know, um, I never pat myself on the back. Um, thank you all for having this opportunity.
Yeah.
I've
No.
always stood in front of people, and the responses I'm getting back are, man, you're getting better and better, you know, of what you do. Well, the end goal of this is whenever I decide to say I'm done working in the field, uh, working those long hours, is to come and be that motivator, that mentor, present leadership skills, pointing people in the right direction when you're confused, letting them know that this industry won't die because we need roads.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Forever.
Forever, no matter where you go, how you go. I get into the point that, you know, I have been offered, even in different countries, to come and speak, you know, because they see that I love this.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? My construction library builds. I have books and books and books of, you know, and I've gave it, you know, I've presented out to young men to go out and read these books, get the information of what you want to be, how you want to be, and how, because everybody does things different.
Yeah.
But
It is.
you got to build a structure that even though the seat changed, the structure is still abide by.
Yep.
And if it aligns you what to success is, why are we changing it? Now, I'm not going to say that you're going to find somebody that will manage something like I do. No. But again, is what are we trying to do? We're trying to reach the end goal.
Yeah.
And the end goal is just to make sure that we're out here to serve the public. And we're here to present things to make the public know that we know what we're doing out here. We chance our life just like cops do. We're out here around people that drive crazy, people that will equipment that can fail you and run over you. Anything can happen. You can get burnt from asphalt. You can get yourself crushed in making asphalt. So again, is it's a dangerous occupation. But if you know the steps and put safety first and understand what that you're here to do and making sure that the people around you are skilled and those that are not skilled, they are trainable and coachable to do what you're trying to get them to do at the end of the day. So, you know,
Man, I want to thank you. I watch podcasts a lot, and they say the easiest ones is when you bring on a guy and he can just talk and tell stories and you just absorb everything. I want to say, I mean, this was a great episode. I think. Obviously, I want to thank you very much because you truly are a leader. You are a mentor of mine, right?
Thank you.
I do in the industry we are. I do look up to you a lot and stuff, and I do reach out to you a lot. I'm always sitting there talking to you and stuff, and I absorb all the lot of the stuff you go. I was grown up thinking, you know, and told as a young age like you're a leader, and when you think that, you don't really look out for other leaders and stuff, right? You think, oh, I'm a leader, I'm gonna direct it, but man, a leader needs a leader. You know what I mean?
Learning does not stop, regardless what and when and like I tell people, when you decide that you think you know it all, move out the way.
Yep.
You don't have to quit. Just move out the way.
Yep.
And let someone else have the opportunity, because again is when you say you're done and you don't want to learn no more from nobody else, you're really no good for the industry now. Now you're going to contaminate the industry. And that's why I tell people, get out the way. If there's no reason for you to tell me that you're ready to retire, you're ready to quit, I'm going to quit. Just do it. Because eventually if I'm sitting there in that position and thinking about my team, I'm already thinking that eventually one day you are going to go.
Yeah.
How do I prevent myself from feeling that lost?
Yeah.
You have to plan. And that's why you see me navigate young guys that I see have potential.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what you've been through, don't know what you're going through, don't know what you have to go through to get what you need to get. My job is I'm telling you is, and you hear from a lot of people, I see something in you that you don't see in yourself. That's all men.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Regardless, you say, hey, like you said, hey, I'm a leader. But man, after you start being around a room of leaders, you find out, my game is not as strong as I think it is.
Yep.
Maybe this is why I don't have too many people following me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's where you start tightening, and that's how I was. That's what made me, again, is Freemason made me look at that.
Yeah.
I thought I was that leader. I thought I was, making $34 an hour. I'm there. Yeah. But then when I got into this room where it was doctors, lawyers, judges, got 10, 20 years in, these guys don't have nothing to worry about. Got a plan for everything. Oh, yeah. I'm behind. And that's where my mentality started picking up, and like I said, getting the books, man. And again, it's when I say this guy born and raised on blacktop.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? I was gonna bring the jacket and everything, but it's a little warm out there in the hat. Yeah. But again, I got that when I went to the Wells of Asphalt in Tennessee.
I got one last funny story to tell, just because in regards to like the when you know it all and stuff. I just love the story. Our baby brother used to work at the mechanic shop and stuff, and my little brother was like, "Hey, I don't want to do this no more." And I'm like, "Well, just try to maybe get an asphalt,
Right.
So he reached out to Mike, and the shop was like, "Well, we don't really want to know if we want you to leave. We're trying to find out a spot and this and that." And they had a whole meeting, and he was like, "You know what your brother told me?" And I was like, "What?" And I'm asking, why do you don't want to be here no more? And he goes, it's because I know everything. I know what I want. I know everything. And you're like, oh yeah, you know everything. What do you know? Mm-hmm. I know I don't want to work in a mechanic shop. And it's like, so, God damn that boy, dude. He told me that. I was like, God damn it. So,
right.
Yeah, right answers.
I mean, and that's the thing is you go through the journey. But see, again, is you look at that for him, that was his ground zero.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And then he started seeing like, okay, this equipment coming in is getting all beat up. What are they doing out there with it? And then you start getting out there and getting a piece of it and realizing And again is I've worked on equipment to just make sure my crew's paved the next day. So again is I've been all in the trenches with it. And that's why I tell people I'm really not an office guy.
Yeah.
I can't sit down in an office and look at a computer all day long and say I gotta go out, see people at it, gotta go see what's challenging people. Hey, why can't you make a good decision? Why you let people get your feathers all ruffled? You know, I talk you off the cliff. And again, is me coming up here. I get a lot of phone calls just being just that ear to be in.
Yeah.
You know, me not saying nothing in response, just letting them go. And I see it because you know what? They are natives from here. But that just like if you came to Missouri, I would be able, you wouldn't understand why people do things. But me, I understand. And some things you try to inquire and realize and see that, hey,
Yeah.
it's different, man.
Yeah.
But again, is the end goal is to keep this industry of construction turning. And how do you get it? It's giving information of people's journey.
Yeah.
That to know that no, I didn't come in this having management skills. I didn't go to college. You see what I'm saying? I come straight out of high school saying I want to make money. I don't want to get in nobody's school no more. I don't want to read no more books. I don't want to do no homework. I want to get out here and make money.
Yeah.
But it put me to the day and age. I still got to teach myself
Yeah.
if I want to teach someone else to be successful.
Yeah.
So
Like I said, Mike, I want to thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome. I think it's going to help a lot of young men and young women in the construction that want to learn stuff. So want to thank you guys so much for watching. Just for how long, it was a great conversation. I was like, I don't want to stop nothing of this. Just for how long the conversation was, I might break this up into 2 episodes, just like one on Monday, one on
Okay.
Tuesday, just so, people can get a good understanding and a feel for it and stuff. So I want to thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mike, for coming on.
Thank you, Mike.
no problem, guys. Hey, love the Vasquez boys.
Yep.
Hey, y'all been very inspiring to me. I have a chance to just get to know you all. And like I said, is man, hey man, just keep going on your journey. And guys, whatever I can do, like I said, is I wouldn't mind doing some more,
Yeah.
and we can get really into what management skills that the young guys need to start picking up. But this was an introductory of just how
Yeah.
a person moving from different states see things different. But at the end, it's all coming to the same goal that if I was still in St. Louis, it's the same thing I would be doing. So, peace out, brothers.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much. Check
guys.
us out on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok.
Peace.
We're out.